Welcome to Awesome Scuba Adventures. My name is Gary Leach. I'm a scuba instructor. This video is part of my Scuba Gear series looking at dive computers. In this video, I walk through the menu structure of the Shearwater Peregrine dive computer. Let's take a look. It's a 2-button interface. On the left is the menu button down under here. On the right is the function button down here. To turn the unit on, you push both buttons at the same time. It'll vibrate and turn on. That gets you to your main screen. So this main screen shows 3 different boxes. You've got the dive information box, you've got the decompression information box, and you've got the information row across the bottom of the screen. Okay, as we go through these screens, you'll notice that the top 2 boxes stay the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you the several screens that that are on the top level here. So we do that by pushing the menu button. So we'll push once, we get to turn it off, select the gas, dive setup, dive log, start Bluetooth, system setup. And this is kind of like a wheel, so it goes right back to where it started. Okay, so now we want to go into these different menu items. So the first one we push, go to the turn off menu item, and we can turn it off simply by pushing the right or function button, and it turns the machine off. Okay, so we want it obviously back on. Push till it vibrates and it turns back on. Now we want to go to the select gas. Go into that, and we'd set up at 21%. You can go to the next screen, which there is none at this level, and so you can select that gas. Okay, so now we want to go down to the dive setup. And so we want to go into the setup, and we can define the gas. Now in the dive setup menu item, we have several sub menu items, and define gas is one. And then you get NDL planner, deco planner, brightness, vibration, and test vibration, and back to dive setup. Okay, so we want to go into dive setup again and define the gas. This time we want to define the gas. So we push that button, and notice that we have 3 different gases that we can define. Okay, they're different nitrox gases for this computer. The first one is 21%, obviously, or air. So if we go next, then we can go to another gas and say we want to edit that. We go over to the right button, push that, and it's off right now, so we want to turn it on. Now it's on, and so we want to change that percentage. So we accept that, then we go into the change. Notice the yellow underline on the first, the 10 digits to 0. And we can go to say, let's say 32%. Say we want to do a 21, 32, and 36. Air, nitrox 1 and nitrox 2. So then we can go next over here by this button, and yellow line moves over, and so get that up to 32. And we want to save that. And now we can go next over here and go to the 3rd gas, and we want to edit that. And so next on that, and so now we want to change that to 36, and go next and change that to 6. Notice that 32 went to yellow because it's already used and won't let you reuse it. If you want to see that again, get to 32. It says if I were to try and use that, say no, duplicate gas, can't do that, it's invalid. Okay, so accept that. So go back to 30. Oop. So we want to define this guy. Go to the next. We'll edit that guy. And next, the tens digit goes to 3, and the ones digit goes to 6. Okay, so now we want to save that. Okay, so now we're done. And if we go back in there, you can see the 3 gases are there, 21, 32, and 36. Okay, so we could go turn one off or whatever. Okay, so now we want to go to the next item in that sub menu through the NDL planner, and we want to hit the plan. So we could either dive now, or we could do it dive in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8, or a full day. So let's say we're about ready to go, so we'll just set that there, and we'll go ahead and push and get a plan going. So it calculates all this information based on what we've put in there. Okay, so we've got 70 feet down to back up to 40 feet as we're ascending gets used nitrox 32. The next set of screens, if you're 100 feet up to 80 feet, is 32. And airs on the other, and you get back to the NDL planner. Okay, so now we want to go to Deco Planner, and we hit plan. So we have the depth that we want to go to, the maximum 100 feet. Say we want to go to a wreck down there to 105 feet. And so we go to next because we want to get to the ones digit and change that to 5. Okay, now we hit next. Okay, and so the time we want to stay there for 5 minutes just to be safe. So let's change the 2 to 0. And oh, we've got 5, so that makes it easy. Okay, so then we go next, and your RMV is your respiratory minute volume. So basically, how much air you breathe. Okay, so next takes you in there, and you can change that if whatever that is for you. And then you're ready to plan the dive. You have GF gradient factor of 10 and 99 set elsewhere. The last stop is at 10 feet using the Bullman system, and your starting CNS is 0. So let's go plan. So we have no deco stops. Total NDL at 105 feet is 26 minutes. Total gas for the dive is 12 cubic feet, and done. Okay, so let's plan a different dive and go to 85 feet. Not 805, but 85. I'll say go to 80 feet so we can change more numbers. Okay, so now we want to stay down there for 15 minutes. Okay, so everything else we're going to keep the same. Okay, gradient factor, all that stuff's still the same. Let's plan. Still no deco stops. Okay, so done. All right, so now we go next. That's the deco planner. Brightness. We can edit and change how bright we want this screen. High, auto, cave, low, medium. We're going to put it back and leave it at high. That's how you toggle through that. And then next, vibrate is on. We can edit that and turn it off if we want to change it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but if we turn it back on and we save it, there it vibrated. Okay, so go to the next option, test the vibration, and you can test it. Okay, so that was dive setup. So now we're on that outer level. The next one we want to go to is hitting this left button and going down to the dive log. Let's say we want to go in there, and we want to either hit the next button, which is, we're at display log now, by the way, and we can find out the next log to dive will be number 52. We can have the restore mode on or off. We will leave it off, but you could change it either on or off and save that. And then the next item would be delete all logs. We're not going to deal with that right now, but you could. And then go back to the dive log, that outer level. So we want to go back in there, and this time we want to display the log. So display the log. And this shows the 51 dives that we have. Okay, so next on the left, we can go through, get to more, get that next page. Now 46 to 42, we could go back a page and go to the previous page and back to 51 to 47. So let's go to more and go to the next page again and say next page. We keep going down and finding whatever dive we want to look at. When we get down to the end, what's it do for us? I wonder. Oh, look at there. Previous page. Okay, previous page. And interestingly, we go back up. So it's a bounce. Okay, so next, say we want to view our last dive. So we now go over here. You see the little yellow arrow on that tracked to dive 51. We can view that dive. And that'll show us all the information about it. So we can go back, which would be back there, or we can go to view again and hit more. We look at more stuff. So more dive information. And we can look at more dive information. We can go back, we can edit, whatever, that kind of thing. So let's say we want to exit that. All right, so now we want to, let's view that. Exit that guy. And we want to pop this down. Instead of more, we want to exit. So we get out of our dive log. Okay, now we want to go down to start our Bluetooth, which is the next button, and come over here to turn it on, and it will start initializing. And then of course you can cancel that. But that is so that you can download or upload your dive data to your computer, etc. So now we're back out at that main level. We want to go down to the last one, which is the system setup screen, or set of screens, and there are several of those. And so we'll pop into this, and we start at mode setup. And you'll see the yellow arrow there. And next takes us to deco setup, and then you can change the layout of the bottom row. You can check do some nitrox gases. You can set up alerts, display setup, system setup. This is back out at, which would change the system, of course. And then the advanced configuration is the last one of those, yeah. So we're back at system setup. So it's interestingly, you have the outer level menu item as system setup and an inner level item as system setup. Just making sure you understood that you need to know that there's one inside the other. Okay, so let's go back to that and start with the first item, which is mode setup. And so we want to exit this, or edit this, not exit. And so we maybe want to do the mode now is set to 3 gas nitrox, so we could use all 3 gases. if we wanted to change the salinity, we change that from fresh to salt, etc. And we're back in mode setup, so we want to edit that again. So we go to the mode, we can change that. The options are go to gauge mode, air, nitrox, or 3 gas nitrox. We're going to leave it at 3 gas. And then the next item would be salinity, and edit that would be fresh EN 13319 or salt. So we're going to leave that at fresh. And next on that, now we're back to the mode setup. So we're going to next that, which takes us to the next system setup item in the list, which is deco setup. And this is where it shows the Bullman being used. Has conservatism custom gradient factor of 10 and 99. And say we want to go in and change some of these. We can change the conservatism, so we can edit that, and it's at custom. Say if we want to change that guy, we can either just do low, and you'll see that the numbers went to 45/95, or medium, which is 40/85. We'll come back to that. High, which is 35/75, or custom, and you can go in, if we do custom and save that, then you could use that 10/99. But say we want to edit this guy and use medium. Save that guy. Then we go down to our last stop, which the Bullman system uses 10 feet. So we're going to leave that. Safety stop. Note that it's at 3 minutes. We could change that. Say we want to edit that to, the options are 4, 5, adapt. That means it automatically adapts to the system, or it counts up from 0, and that way you can just use that on the fly and however long you want to stay there. You can turn it off, which I don't recommend, or we can do the normal 3-minute safety stop, and then you can save all that data. Okay, so now we're at deco setup, and we want to get down to the next system setup item, menu item, which is bottom, I believe, yeah. See, the yellow is now on the deco setup, so the next takes you to the bottom row, which is the bottom row on the machine itself, on the computer. And you can edit this if you type push the edit button, and you can edit what's in the center. Say we're at max depth, we're going to come back to that, but I want to show you what all you can choose. So we're going to go through all these. So max depth is what we're doing. So there's a whole number of different things that you can show, and it's the same list. We're going to save that. It's the same list for the right button or area down here, which is what clock is, and we're just going to keep that for now. Okay, and now we're back to the menu item where it says bottom row, so we can come to the next sub-menu item under the system setup and get to the nitrox gases. Okay, so we want to edit the nitrox gases. Okay, so the gas 1, we have it as off. If we want to edit that, we can turn it on. Okay, and then that gives us the PO2, which is, or FO2, which is what we had defined earlier, and the MOD for that is 98 feet. So if we do next on that, We could change that gas. We'll save that. If we go to the gas number 2, which is the 32, and active gas, which would be the air, which would be 21%. Okay. So hit next, and the MOD, the PPO2, we want to keep that at 1.4. If you wanted to edit it, you could get over here and change it. It will go 1.00 up to 1.4. We're going to go back to 4. And then next, and we're just going to save that. Okay, so now we want to exit, which is now menu item number or name is changed over here. Takes us back to the yellow arrow at the nitrox gases, which means the next item under the system setup screens will be alerts setup. Okay, so we want to edit the alerts setup, and we start with depth. So we want to edit that. We could either turn it on or off. If we want to change it to off, turn it to on. Maybe we want to have an alert at 80 feet, or let's say 85. So let's go to 80 feet, or 85, I mean. Next to, next, too many times. All right, okay, 85 feet. Whew, made it. All right, so we now have that set. Now we can go to the next item, which would be time, and say we want to know when we're at, say, 45 minutes. Let's say 50 minutes. So we can turn that on or off, but we want to do next. We want to go back over here. So we want to leave that 0. We want to change that to 5 for 50 minutes. Just a heads up, say, hey, you've been down for 50 minutes. Okay, so now you want to go next to the ones digit, and you want to save that information. Okay, so the next item would be the low NDL. You could do the same thing for minutes, however many minutes you want there. If you were getting to 5 minutes in this case, it would prompt you, say, hey, your NDL's coming up pretty soon. Okay, so then you can do vibration on or off. Edit that, and we're going to leave it on. And you heard that vibrate maybe when I selected save. So we're going to do the next. So alerts setup is now we move to display setup, and we could change units. If we change the units, it would be feet or meters. We're going to leave it in feet. Save that. Go to the next. Temperature, edit that. Degrees Fahrenheit, degrees Celsius. We're going to leave it in degrees F. Save that. Brightness, we've got it on high. Go to the next. We could change that there. And if we change, it goes high, auto, cave, low, medium, high. And we're going to save that again. So there's multiple places for that. Let's see, altitude, we're going to leave that as, it seems to be auto done with this computer. And flip screen, we'll actually flip the screen. So if we flip it, it's now upside down. If we turn it around, notice that I can flip it again, but the button is up on top now. So if I want to flip it back, which I do, because you can do that, okay? And then you can exit. Okay, so notice that your yellow arrow has come back up to display setup. And the next system setup item is in fact system setup. So you can change the date, you can change the clock, you can unlock or lock the computer. You can have a log rate of 10 seconds or other that you choose, or you can reset all the defaults, or to all the defaults. And then let's go to the next and final item, which is the advanced configuration. And you can edit advanced configuration if you wish. It goes in here and it has all the colors, how long you want to be at, say, the surface before your computer goes into ham at the surface mode, and that way you can go down for another dive or continue the dive, especially if you're an instructor, come up for less than a minute with a student and go back down. It doesn't switch dives. Your battery icon, warnings, and then you can set up your minimum PPO2 for various whatever, in this case at 0.18. The MOD PPO2 is 1.4, which is where we'll want to keep that for recreational divers. And the DECO, if you go beyond 1.60, that's a bad thing. So we want to know and have the computer go into, hey, you need to do a DECO stop if you're at a PPO2 of 1.61. Okay, so we're done there. Advanced, we hit that again for done, and we're back up to the system setup, the outer portion of the menu, and that should, if we push this one more time, should take us back to the main screen. And there we are. So I hope you enjoyed walking through this series of screen menus, or the menus for the Shearwater Peregrine dive computer. I'm Gary Leach. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Awesome Scuba Adventures.